First of all, I would like to apologize to the makers of Sher Dil, Sia and Matto Ki Cycle. Now, why am I doing this? Keep watching this video to find out. R. Balki is someone who is a very, very creative filmmaker. He always likes to do stuff which is not ordinary. He likes to stay away from doing the ordinary stuff when it comes to filmmaking. And if you look at his filmography, you will realize that he has always ventured into making something which feels fresh. Yes, I agree that one of his films is inspired from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, but that is the thing. That film is inspired and not copied. After leaving us surprised with Pa, Chini Kam, Shamitab, Ki and Ka, and Padman, R. Balki is back with another story on the big screen. A story that is very personal, a story that feels like a celebration of the art form of storytelling, and more importantly, the perception of that art form in the eyes of those who are considered the bona fide set of analysts responsible for promoting the true charm of this audio-visual medium. And once again, R. Balki is playing with metaphors. In fact, he gives his audience a hint of his metaphorical usage in a scene from Chup, in which Amitabh Bachchan comes for an interview. Amitabh Bachchan is sitting for an interview to promote his film Third Empire. In Pa, we had the metaphor of lost fatherhood. In Chini Kam, it was the metaphor of the age gap between two lovers. Shamitab was a metaphorical coalition of the voice and the voiceless. Padman stood for a superhero who safeguarded women from the dangers of menstrual diseases. And now in Chup, it is the metaphor of silence, demanded from both critics and audiences who might end up killing the dreams of unorthodox filmmakers. An anti-hero who was fascinated with the world of cinema right from childhood, when watching a film became his favorite escapade after being thrashed by his alcoholic father. And the first visual of a film that he discovered was none other than that of Vasant Kumar Shiv Shankar Padukone, better known as Guru Dutt, one of the pioneers of Indian cinema. Guru Dutt gave us films that were way ahead of their time, films with immortal relevance, films that have now become the golden chapters in the history of Indian cinema. Three of his films, Pyasa, Kaagaz Ke Phool, and Sahib Bibi Aur Ghulam, are considered to be his most revered works of art. Now, I am sure that for every cinema enthusiast out there is always someone, be it a director, a cinematographer, an editor, or any creative professional working in the field of storytelling, working in the world of cinema, who acts like that ray of enlightenment. A person whose vision and execution becomes the bedrock of learning for you when it comes to the world of cinema. And that person becomes your guide to discovering the true essence of cinema, discovering the true meaning of storytelling. In fact, you get so fascinated and so appreciative of that person's work that you don't just start caring for his or her body of work, you also start caring for that person as well. That person becomes very near and dear to you in a lot of ways. For me, that person is Danish auteur Lars von Trier. And recently, when it was revealed that he has Parkinson's, and that too, like I was devastated. I was devastated to say the least. Like the day the news broke, I started crying. I could not stop myself. I have this kind of a relationship with Lars von Trier because he was the one who became my teacher, who became my master to teach me the art form of storytelling, and he became my ray of enlightenment. And if you talk about Chup and if you talk about R. Balki, I think for him, that person was Guru Dutt. Because the plot of Chup feels like a heartfelt tribute from R. Balki to his master of storytelling, his ray of enlightenment. We can clearly see those frame references from Pyasa and Kaagaz Ke Phool. Some great visual tributes also feel interconnected with the story of Chup itself, especially the last frame of the film when Dulquer Salman's character is standing inside that prison, and the way he is, like his body and his figure is interacting with the light, that silhouette is an iconic visual from Pyasa, from that scene where Guru Dutt is singing the song Jala do ise phoonk dalo ye duniya. And what's another amazing aspect about this film is how R. Balki and the writers of this film are trying to leave some Easter eggs as well. Like the first Easter egg that we see is like when the first revelation of the murder has been made, we see how a star was carved on the victim's head, and that star, immediately we see a match cut with the t-shirt of a guy who is delivering flowers at a shop, and that shop is none other than that of Dulquer's character, Danny's Flowers. And speaking of flowers, when the police starts figuring out who is the killer, who is the serial killer, they start looking for florists. And there is a montage of their investigation. There is a montage of how they start going to different florists and flower shops to check who is using that particular plastic paper. And the first florist, or let's say one of the florists in that montage, was Khoj florist. So that I thought is like a nice little cheeky little touch when it comes to giving an Easter egg. And there is one more, I'll say, I think it's an Easter egg because the scene when Pooja Bhatt's character is, looking at the list of all the filmmakers whose works have been rejected, who have gotten very bad reviews for their films, we do pay, like, the camera focuses for just 1 or 2 seconds on a director whose name is Sebastian Gomes. And then in the end, we realize that Dulquer Salman's character's real name is Sebastian Gomes, not Danny. Danny was the name of his dog. And you know why, why did he name his shop Danny's Flowers? So this is something that I really liked. This is a way of forcing the audience to keep paying attention to the film, keep paying attention to each and everything that is happening in the film, because if you do, you will find some of these really nice aspects which will enhance your experience of watching the film. And yes, another very, very good aspect of this film that I really loved were the dialogues. Like, the dialogues for me were very well written. Such creative use of speech, such creative usage of dialogues that actually help in the progression of the story, that actually help in the logical progression of the story, because creativity and being logical goes hand in hand. And this is a very good blend of storytelling, creativity, and being logical. The dialogues were spot on. And these dialogues, in fact, there are quite a few dialogues which talk about the habits of, the taste preferences of the audiences when it comes to watching films. And especially in India, there is one dialogue that just summarizes everything that the audience looks for in theaters, especially these days, and that is, "Yahan par Scorsese nahi Shetty chalta hai." This is my favorite dialogue from the film. "Yahan Scorsese nahi Shetty chalta hai." There are many other dialogues that talk about how film critics should actually perform their duty of being a film critic, how the audience should not dismiss films that are out of the box, that are unorthodox. They should give equal chance to filmmakers who are trying to do something new. There was also a dialogue that was mentioned by Anmol Jammy Pants on his Twitter. So the dialogue was that तुम्हारा काम सिर्फ फिल्म को महसूस करना है, फिल्म कितना बिजनेस करेगी ये तुम्हारे हाथ में नहीं है. This is so important for a film critic to understand that it doesn't matter whether the film is going to be a flop or a hit on the box office. It doesn't matter if the film becomes like 100 crore or 200 crore film. Your job is to only and only tell the audiences as truthfully as you can that this is a good film or a bad movie. This is a above average film, below average film. What are the pros? What are the cons? What did you like? What did you not like? What did you actually did not like? And what you actually loved the most? Being as honest as you can. And I just read an article in which R. Balki mentioned to Variety that he himself was very sad after reading a review of his film Cheeni Kam, because he felt that, wait, this film is not that bad. Why is this person not liking it? And why is this critic thrashing my film? And I think that sadness, that disappointment has also been depicted in this film, because this is truly, like, Chup is truly a heartfelt tribute to cinema and a heartfelt tribute to Guru Dutt's cinema. And there is another point of discussion that this film is trying to cover, which is the fact that the best of cinema, the best stories and the best films are now getting appreciated more on OTT platforms and less in theaters. Like, whenever a film that is not a spectacle, not like something like a KGF or an RRR or a Bahubali, it is very difficult for that film to thrive at the box office. It is very difficult for that film to bring in audiences in the theaters. So, like, the viewing preferences have obviously witnessed a significant change, especially after the pandemic. Like, if you look at some of BBC's reports, Netflix got 16 million new signups, which is double than what the company received in 2019. In fact, there is an article by Wall Street Journal saying that worldwide streaming subscription has passed 1 billion during the pandemic. So yes, there is a massive shift in terms of viewing cinema. The screen size has definitely reduced from a big 70 screen to the screen of your phone or a laptop or a computer monitor or even on your TV. But the experience has changed a lot because of the pandemic. But now that everything has gone back to normal, it is still very difficult for a lot of films like Sia, Matto Ki Cycle, and Sher Dil to bring in audiences to the theaters. This shift in screen sizes has created a segregation between films that are meant for theaters and the ones that are meant to be enjoyed from the comfort of your home. Now, unfortunately, films that lack larger than life scope, films that are not spectacles for the big screen, and films that are realistic and rooted don't enjoy theater ticket sales anymore. They become cult classics, but only after getting released on OTT platforms. That is the reason why I apologize to the makers of Sia, Sher Dil, and Matto Ki Cycle. 3 films that were released in theaters, but I don't think the audience was interested in watching these movies. Sia did get some footfalls because of the screenings that were hosted by the director himself. But when it comes to Sher Dil, when it comes to Matto Ki Cycle, like, even I am guilty of not watching these, not being able to watch these movies in theaters, which is why I'm very sorry. I actually feel guilty of not giving these films a chance to be witnessed on the big screen. This is something that we really need to change, and this is something that this film talks about. There are a lot of other issues. It also talks about young idealism. There is a comment on young idealism. There is a comment on what depression truly means. There is a lot of commentary that is done in this film about the world of cinema, the world of critiquing cinema, and how audiences perceive films of different genres from different storytellers, and what really needs to change, how the perception really needs to change, how we have to be more welcoming to all kinds of cinema. This is something that really spoke with me after watching Chup. In fact, there were moments in Chup which felt like what I feel has been portrayed on screen. And if you have felt the same, let me know in the comments. And I'm so glad that Chup did not witness that same treatment when it comes to getting footfalls in the theaters. Chup is getting a lot of footfalls. Most of the credit for that goes to National Cinema Day. And there was a free screening hosted by R. Balki in a lot of different cities. But then I really hope that films like Chup continue to gain attention from audiences in theaters first and then on OTTs. I agree, directors should start thinking about releasing their films either only on OTT or in theaters first. But then if a film lands in theaters first, let's try to give those films a chance, because otherwise we will just keep getting blockbusters and cult classics on OTT platforms. We will not be able to enjoy them in theaters. Everything Everywhere All at Once, I'm so happy that this film released in theaters in India without any cuts. Thank God I did not watch that film on OTT first. I enjoyed that film on the big screen in the theaters. And last but not the least, this film I think also tries to request the audiences to please remain silent while watching any film. Please, you will get all the time to chat about the movie or chat about anything else that you want to after watching the film. But please, when you are watching the film, please give some respect to the storyteller, give some respect to the makers of the film, and of course give some respect to the staff of the theater. I think that lacks a lot in a lot of people. So that's it from me. This is everything that I think about Chup. Please watch that film if you haven't, and if you have, let me know what are your thoughts about the film. I'm so happy that R. Balki took the decision to make this film. Congratulations to him and the entire team of this film. And yes, that will be all from my end for this video. If you've liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos like these. And I will be back soon with another one. Till then, my name is Porush, and thank you so much for watching. Long live cinema.